All right, we're ready to go. This training is called Solve for Easy. Okay, something plus something else is going to give you guys easy agency growth, help you grow your business a lot faster. Before we get started, it's really gratifying. It's a lot of fun what we do. We launched UpHex, I think, about a month ago, more or less, right in that time frame, and we're still learning how to service you guys, do the best we can. And we really appreciate that. And everybody for showing up here today. Obviously, we appreciate you. And I want to give a couple of quick shout outs to folks that have gone in and really dug in and start doing their thing. Adam Lucky and James Nielsen Watt, you guys are awesome. Both of which are offering DIY marketing, and they're doing it differently. Adam, you can see here, he says 7 leads today, all under $10. Cool thing is he launched our proven ads in less than 1 minute. No need for an expensive agency to run all these ads these days. DM me if you want more information on our Click and Go marketing. So he's crushing it, doing absolutely awesome. And then James posted a screenshot of somebody who's using his automated marketing. And they said, our cost per lead is between $15 and $6.85. And this week I have had so many people actually book in discovery calls with me, I haven't had time to call my leads. That's awesome. I mean, these guys are using in absolutely different ways. James uses it as a back-end retention tool. Adam uses it as a front-end lead generation tool. Absolutely phenomenal. So big shout out to those guys. We look forward to seeing a lot of you have the same type of results and look forward to seeing you guys grow as we grow too. Awesome. If you don't know me, I wanted to do just a quick introduction, not spend a ton of time on myself, but you're in the community, your family, we want to make sure that you know who we are. So my name is Sam Carlson, husband, 4 kids, and I am one of the co-founders of UpHex. And if you look, there's another co-founder on here named Bradley Kipp. He's here with me. He's just waved at you. And we've got another partner too. So we're glad that you guys are here. A little bit about my background. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I have technically never really had a job. I mean, I guess I worked as a teller in Wells Fargo Bank when I was in college, but that doesn't really count. Actually, there's a lot of funny stories about that. Anyway, I've had 7 years in the lead generation space. Okay, I owned a mortgage company, and I do a lot of I own my agencies now, both of which we were heavily invested and focused on lead generation. So I've got a lot of time there. I had a top rated podcast, speaker, author, all that kind of stuff. There's me speaking in front of a bunch of people who look serious. There's my podcast. In fact, that podcast I did that with a fellow named Phil Graham. It's still live. He's still crushing it, doing it. I stopped doing that podcast back in 2019, maybe 20, right around there, when we set out to build what you're now using today. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And I really wanted to make sure that the product that you're using now is awesome. Wrote this book. And then my agency also has a published case study by Facebook, meaning Facebook reached out and they said, hey, man, we really like the way that you're marketing at this business over in Washington, and we want to publish a case study on you. And if you don't know how that works, what's really cool about that is they don't actually tell you, they don't actually ask you for any information. All the attribution information, the data, the leads, the conversions, all that kind of stuff, they have themselves. So all the information you see on this screen was attribution data. They could track it from when the person, got found on Facebook to the point to where they converted into an actual sale. So that was a really cool thing. All right. What we're going to cover today, this is the scope of the training today. I want to make sure that we deconstruct a pattern and a behavior that is prevented me from growth, and it's preventing all of you from the same growth. If you're here, I'm assuming you've had at least some taste of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to make a big pivot. We're going to talk about the secret of the monkey fist. Woo! I bet you guys are excited about that one. How to solve your agency's easy growth, and then we're going to go over to the Scrum. All right. You guys excited? Are you guys excited? I see a couple of nods, like a couple of thumbs. Grab the chat, engage with me. Let me know what's going on. Awesome. Appreciate all the thumbs up. That's the go-to move. Appreciate it. All right, let's roll. This is the agency conundrum. And before I share any of this, I'm not picking on this guy. Okay. I am not picking on this guy because I have been there myself. It's frustrating. It's confusing. I know what it's all about, but this is actually a post. I'm not going to say when, because I don't want to out the person. It's not about that, but this is a recent post in the Go High Level community where this guy comes out and he says, hey, what would you say is the best way to get new agency clients through Facebook ads in your experience? I'm in the position where I can get clients at I can get my clients $5,000 in sales with just $1,000 in ad spend, but no idea how to do it for myself. Right. And then you see at the very bottom, this guy, the first comment says, same boat. Okay. This is not just this one person. This is an epidemic. All right. And you're going to learn. In fact, I hope I don't want to tell you right now because it wouldn't mean that much, but you're going to learn through the course of this training today, why that is and how to never do that again. And that's not hyperbole. I actually mean that. If I do my job right, we're going to learn how to stop doing that, which by the way, this is the first time I've ever taught this subject or this topic, this idea from beginning to end. So bear with me because the concepts are simple, but it's an entire paradigm shift for everyone here. Okay. So if I mess something up, sorry, I'm doing my best. All right. The immovable object, everybody that is in business, whether you're running an agency like we do, whether you run whatever it is, everybody has this problem. Okay. It is the common habit. It's habitual. It's existing everywhere. You have a business, you have a product, and you're like, man, I want to sell this thing. I want to sell this thing so bad, but nobody wants to buy it for whatever reason. Right. And to know if this is you, to further, push on the pain here, here's a couple symptoms that you might see yourselves defaulting to. Like these are thought patterns, behaviors, things that might happen. Okay. You're always looking for the right funnel. You're always looking for the hack. Okay. You need the right method, or you need the silver bullet, right? You're thinking, hey, I'm going to get in this Facebook group and I'm going to figure this stuff out. That's where I'm going to get it. I'm going to try this. This guy says he does that tactic, this tactic, whatever. I'm going to DM people. This guy says one thing. By the way, people in groups are saying things like they'll answer questions in a very eluding, fancy way where they're like, hey, I've got the secret. I figured it out. And then you're supposed to be like, hey, man, I'll send you a DM. Okay. This is all behavior that is going to stop you from growing. Okay. This is not what you need to be doing. This is not how you're going to fix your own problems. All right. In fact, again, not to pick on anybody. This is the rule. It's not the exception. These are the comments on that exact picture. These are the comments. Every single response is doing the same thing. This guy says, we do a straight image and good copy for an application and then close them with the call. Oh, there's the solution. We fix it. Hey guys, this meeting's over. You get my point? Okay. We do a 10-minute VSL, then calendar, then application. It's all that matters is the offer. The guy at the bottom says lead forms. These are distractions. These are not how you're going to fix this. This is kind of like saying, hey, I'm going to lose weight without any effort at all. I'm going to take a pill. I'm going to get rich quick. Okay. I'm going to go play for the Chicago Bulls because I watched a video on how to shoot 3-pointers like a pro and I'm in. I mean, if I could today, all right, I'm 42 years old. Wait, I'm 42 years old next month or 2 weeks, whatever. If I could go out there today and have a 90% 3-point shooting percentage, I could play for any team in the NBA. That's all I got to do. So why don't I do it? I just figure it out, right? You guys, okay, I'm exaggerating. I want you to get the point. The point is, it's kind of like building a house without a foundation, all right? All of the entire way that we're thinking, the thought patterns, everything we're doing to try and solve our problems, the problem is not our problem. The thing we're looking at is not the problem, okay? Instead of looking that way, you got to look this way. You got to look behind you. All right. In fact, no one knows this better than me because, and I'm not putting myself above anybody. I'm just going to say for the first decade of my entrepreneurial career, I slogged through bust and boom. And I mean, just like it was a not so fun journey. Okay. I happen to own a mortgage company, and there's another guy on here that that's in the mortgage business. I owned a mortgage company in 2000. I started it in 2005. And what happened in 2008? I got the legs chopped out from under me big time. And all of the confidence, I grew a mortgage company from zero, so me, to 45 loan officers. It was the third largest mortgage company in Idaho, right? And I did that off of hustle. I did that off of just like, getting after it. I was just so driven. And every ounce of confidence that I had that led me to be able to build that got wiped out for a decade. Because I mean, if any of you, by the way, this is not a pity story. If any of you had experience or were alive in 2008, it wasn't great. And especially if you're in the mortgage industry, it was really not great. And so for the next 10 years, not even kidding, I wish it didn't take me that long, but it did. So for the next 10 years, I up and down. I figured things out, learned like a little bit by little. I repaired the confidence that I had lost. God's been good enough to give me the ability to talk to people, to communicate with people, to be good at sales. But that's not the answer, right? I had to go back through the process. And after so much up and down, after like getting to this place where, okay, I can make $90,000 a year for my family and support myself, this, that, and the other, man, it would just, something would happen and I'd tank off. And it was always like I was running. It just didn't ever seem like I was solving any problem for any long period of time. Some other problem would, like whack-a-mole, boom, some other problem would pop up. So at some point, and I guess for me, it took 10 years, but at some point I thought to myself, let's go ahead and mute. At some point I thought to myself, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this anymore. And there was, in the interest of time, there's a lot of things that led to that, but I'm like, I am done with this. I'm going to fix this. I'm going to figure it out. Okay. And really my journey started about in 2016, maybe right around there. And I started working with a really successful business owner, really successful. And he wanted to hire me to do a very specific function in his business. And I started becoming a coach and a consultant. He said to me, he goes, Sam, you have a really high level of confront, meaning I can say things without, like, if it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry, but it doesn't hurt my feelings. This is what you need to hear. And he said, that's a really valuable skill. So he started coaching me up, and I was living in the Puget Sound, and I would drive around the Puget Sound all day. I mean, I had clients all around the Puget Sound. I had like 13 clients that would just go around. So I was driving a lot, and I was listening to sports radio. I was listening to a lot of sports radio. I became very proficient in my sports acumen. And I one day was talking to him, and he's like, maybe you should not listen to sports radio. Maybe you should listen to like a book, right? Start using that time to educate yourself. I educate myself every single day. I think you should. Like, it's a good idea. So I started with one book and then another. And today I do that every single day. I do something I call windshield time. This is not the secret, by the way. This is just something I do. I do something called windshield time, where every day I get in my truck, because I work from home. I get in my truck and I drive around for an hour. It's hell on the gas bill, but it gives me the ability to learn something every day. And because of that, for my money, I feel like I'm better than anybody at what I do. Okay. And one of the things it did is it led me to the point where it's like, man, I can't do this on my own. I need help. And that's where I started. Okay. Now, my story of how I got into advertising and marketing and all that kind of stuff is not important at this point. The point is, the thing I wanted to become educated on was marketing. That's my job. That's what I do. How am I going to be the best at it? Okay. And so I started looking for people who I thought were the best. Okay. And I got some advice from my in real life mentor on how to source and find those. And I don't want to tell you what that advice was because it'll take away the punchline at the end. Okay. But I started looking for people that were proficient. And one of the things that he said is don't go after the people that are the gurus today. Okay. And so I picked 2 mentors. And my first one was a guy named Gary Bencivenga. Does anybody know Gary Bencivenga, by the way? All right, we got a couple nods. Good for you. Gary Bencivenga, if you don't know who he is, if you're watching this on replay, Google Gary Bencivenga bullets. Okay. It's one of the best free resources on the internet for marketing. I happen to have his seminar right here. This thing is not, this thing is legit. So this is limited print. He retired back in 2015. The point is, Gary Bencivenga was and is one of my chosen mentors. Now, I've never met him, but I choose to consume and deconstruct his content. And one of the really cool secrets that he shared was something called the monkey fist, the secret of the monkey fist. And he calls it perhaps the most effective selling strategy ever discovered. All right. So what's a monkey fist? The story goes that when he heard this example, this metaphor for the first time, the guy says, well, I like to visualize the idea of the monkey fist in an example. Okay, let's say you have this ball here. What is this ball? Well, if you were to take if you've ever seen a big cruise ship, a big tanker, okay, well, and now I'm saying this, I should have done these images in reverse. I'll fix that next time. But the point is, if you wanted to get a big tanker, a cruise ship anchored at port, how would you do that? Some of these ropes, I mean, do you have to have like 10 guys carrying a rope? You know, do you muscle it? Well, in this case, all you do is you use this little ball. Okay. It's called a monkey fist. You attach it to the end of the big rope. It's a thin, easy to handle, easy to maneuver thing. And you throw it from one place to the next. And then you use that small thing to make the big thing happen. Okay. His point, what the secret of the monkey fist is instead of trying to muscle, instead of trying to like go directly at the quote sale or whatever it is, there's always one sale that makes the second sale easy. All right. And so from my mentors, I started thinking, well, hold on. Maybe I'm looking at the entire process. Maybe I'm looking at what I am doing in the wrong way. I've got this big thing I'm trying to do. Okay. I want to get that stinking ship docked to port. This is a big task. Maybe instead of focusing on, okay, just looking at the rope and getting there, maybe I need something else. Maybe I need something that will make it easier, provide leverage for me. Okay. That's mentor number 1. This is mentor number 2. Okay. Mentor number 2 is Chet Holmes. And anybody know Chet Holmes? Okay. Chet Holmes passed away in 2015. He wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. And Chet Holmes is, in my mind, a man well before his time. He is an OG. He's amazing. He's a really smart guy. Okay. I didn't necessarily want to tell you his approach. And so this is a video. This is I think it's a 3-minute video. Okay. So you're not going to hear me talking for the next 3 minutes, but you're going to hear him. Okay. His approach, his comparable, this is a really amazing thing. So go ahead and, watch or listen to this. Make sure if you can't hear the audio, make sure I know, but, give me a thumbs up, Bradley, if the audio goes. Okay. Here we go. Sound. There we go. Jeez. All right. Now we should have that fixed. Let me go ahead and. All right. Give me a thumbs up, Bradley, if we got it.
Tool that I use to help people trying to attract the widest possible audience is what we call education-based marketing. And you and I have a client right now. They're the largest home builder in the world, or certainly in Mexico, the largest. They might be the 3rd largest in the world. and maybe probably be the largest in the world before they're done. But these guys build 700 homes a week. And they're New York Times Stock Exchange, trade on the New York Stock Exchange. And basically they're out there all the time going, buy a home X home, buy a home X home, buy a home X home in Mexico, right? And so we went in there and, again, trying to always understand the market, do research on it. Most people never do this. They don't really understand their markets. Like, I talked to a group the other day and they were selling to lawyers, and I said, how many lawyers are there in the country? Nobody knew. They know their product, they know their service, they don't know anything about the industries or the markets that they serve.
Yes.
So we did this research and we went out there and we found out the biggest problem in Mexico is that people will live 3 generations in one household. I mean, literally, you will have 15 people living in a 700 square foot house.
Wow.
There's a living room, a bedroom, and a bathroom. I mean, in a kitchen. That's it. Very, very tiny houses, and they're shacks. And yet the Mexican government now is funding all the homes you want to possibly buy. So you can go out of that shack into a brand new home, and they're taking the money out of your paycheck anyway.
Right.
So just like they do Social Security in the United States, in Mexico, that Social Security can be applied as a down payment on a house, and then the percentage that they take, they'll just take it out of your pay and they'll pay the mortgage for you.
Wow.
So, it's like, why wouldn't you get a house? And just motivating people to get out of that whole thing. So we did some research and we found out that in a crowded household, the chance of infancy death is 400% greater than in a non-crowded household. If a little girl grows up in a crowded household, because she's the lowest on the pecking order, she sort of grows up with learned helplessness.
Yeah.
Boys who grow up in a crowded household are twice as likely to be a failure in life, twice as likely to be an alcoholic. Females who grow up in crowded households are twice as likely to get pregnant younger. So this is data. So we took some of this data, and where their ads used to say, buy Home X home, we're Home X, we build homes, buy a Home X home. And their agency at the time just said to us basically, look, the advertising is not really, going to pull response. I mean, people are going to buy a house whether they want to or not. You can't really motivate people to buy a house. We're just, fundamentally just branding. And
right.
I don't buy that for a second, by the way. I do not believe that if you're advertising, you should be pulling response. Yeah. And it's a waste of money otherwise. Like, while I'm branding, let me pull some response.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So we started running the ads and we started saying, did you know the chance of infancy death in a crowded household is 400% greater? Did you know that blah, 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 blah? And then, we set up the whole stage, and the first week that the ads ran, the month prior, they pulled 7 phone calls.
This is $1.5 billion company, by
right.
the way, so people know.
Yeah, and the first week they ran the ad, they pulled what we thought at first was 1,300 inbound phone calls.
Right.
Later on, we found out it was 2,300 because 800 went into nothing because we filled up their voicemail. Nobody could answer any more calls, right. So they were able to track 800 lost calls.
Wow.
And that alone for a company.
Okay. All right. That guy's legit, by the way. Let me just reiterate what he was saying. These guys in Mexico were selling homes. They got 7 calls the week, or I think they said the month before, whatever, maybe week, month, doesn't matter. And they went from going straight out and saying, buy a home, X home, to saying, hey, here's a piece of information that might pique your interest in a different way. And by the way, we're not selling anything either. We're not selling here, right? Give them that information, and boom, all of a sudden, give them that piece of information, then all of a sudden, it's doing the heavy lifting. So I started looking around back at my now chosen mentors, the way that my mentor told me to look at them. And I thought to myself, maybe I need to put more of my focus and my energy here. I'm going to develop this thought in a lot more detail, but the point is, we don't focus our energy on making the sale that we want. We got to focus our energy on what's going to make the sale for us. Okay. Now hold on just a minute. We actually have to take a minute here and see things for what they really actually are. Okay. I gave you 2 examples. Are these 2 things the exact same thing? Meaning, One is a monkey fist and one is a education-based marketing. Are they the same things? Nope, they are not. Monkey fist is a principle. It's an idea. It's a concept. Okay. Education-based marketing is a tactic. Okay. They are education-based marketing is a tactic that layers on top of the principle of the monkey fist. Okay. This is so important. You got to know your principles so you can create your own tactics. All right. You got to know your principles so you can create your own tactics. Or else you're going to end up like those people in that Facebook group where they're running around looking at everybody else's, hey, what are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? And they're missing the point entirely. Right? Know your principles. All right. Even with that said, those two examples, I feel like we've probably come a long way with just those. If we were to end this training here, we could probably, do pretty good. Everybody would walk away. I think everybody would say, cool, I like it. But the reality is, we still haven't asked the most important question yet. And I can't give you any framework, or I can't deliver it to you without this single story. Okay? Without this very specific story. You're going to leave here today thinking, man, I got this thing in the bag. As soon as you try and do it, you're going to be back to the drawing board tomorrow. I promise. You guys want to hear this story? I mean, I built it up a lot. You should. Let me know. Grab the chat. I love engaging with you guys, but I want to make sure nobody is snoozing, especially right now. I'm about to unload the biggest bomb on you that you've ever had in your lives, and I want to make sure that everybody is here. All right, we got a couple people coming in. Let me see what you're saying. Are you saying good stuff like yippity doo dah and yeah, show me that? I can't pull up the freaking chat. Whatever. You're all saying good stuff. Let's roll. All right. This single story changed my life forever. That's not hyperbole. I'm not even kidding. Okay. And I'm not even overselling it. If you don't get the point of this story, you're not listening. All right. This is a guy named Captain John Raid. Okay. Captain John Raid was a fisherman in the Northeast. I want to say it was like the Nantucket area over there. Okay. The area that he was a captain in, and you can see this is like the 50s, like this is a long time ago. Okay. The area that he was a captain in is renowned for its fisheries and for the best captains in the world living centralized in this one place. In fact, the movie Jaws is based off of a captain that lived in this exact area. Okay. Now, if you were to survey and poll any of those captains from that time and say, out of all these amazing captains, who is the best one? Who's the number one captain of them all? They would have said Captain John Raid. Okay. And they would have said Captain John Raid because unlike other fishermen who would go out with nets, long lines, like tons of stuff and like chumming or whatever, Captain John Raid would go out as a line fisherman in a crappy boat and catch his weight in commercial fish daily in a boat, just like you're looking at right here. Okay. I mean, this guy was not like a tech savvy GPS and like none of that. Okay. He had something that none of them had. And when he retired, he was interviewed. You can find this response. It's the cutout of the newspaper. It's hilarious. But when he retired, the journalist said, all right, Captain Raid, you're retiring. You're clearly like the best of like, what is your secret? What is your secret? And he sat and he thought for a minute. And his response should change your life. He said, when fishermen go out to fish, they think like fishermen. When I go out to fish, I think like a fish. This story changed everything. I remember the minute that I saw it, which I saw it right here. I remember the very second I heard it. And it's like 10,000 light bulbs went off in my head. And it turned me into a person who now I felt like instead of feeling maybe out of control or frustrated or whatever, when I come into, not to say I don't have frustration or whatever in business, because that's not what I'm saying. But instead of feeling like I don't know where to go to the answers, or I have to go and ask some stupid person that I really don't know what's the answer. Maybe some of you think that about me, some stupid person. I don't know. I knew how to solve the problem for myself. Okay. And now you know. Okay. You can't answer a question you're not asking. Okay. Without the fundamental understanding of who you are marketing to, fish, right? You'll never be a marketing pro. It's never going to happen. Okay. While every single guru out there is out there touting some specific tactic, you know you've got to be rooted in principles. Okay. And while everyone else is looking for an easy button, you're creating an easy solution, because what you'll find is the more you base things on a principle, the solutions are like, okay, well, let me try this. Right? Let me see if this works. And the more you do that, the easier the solutions become. Okay. A funnel does not matter. It does not matter. How many steps is between here, whatever, that does not matter. The problem is not that something works or doesn't work, meaning VSL, webinar, application funnel, like these things, whatever. The problem is they all work. Okay. As long as you're offering something that your prospect actually cares about. One of my favorite quotes, Gary Benzavenga, best copywriter ever, says, I tell marketers again and again, a gifted offer beats a gifted pen. So you got to think like a fish, you guys. Okay. When marketers go out to get leads, they think like marketers. Hey man, that's a really cool funnel you got there. It's really, I mean, geez, look at all those bells and whistles you got there. You got like a live chat. You've got a, wait a minute, you've got this automation on the back. Oh, wait a minute. It's got custom fields. Oh, wait a minute. BS. When I go out to get leads, I think like my prospect. I know the exact bait that's going to pull the big one in, right? You got to stop thinking like a marketer, and you have to start asking questions like a prospect. Okay. I got to stop for just a minute. Hopefully I didn't oversell this. Hopefully you guys are like, hopefully this is shifting some paradigms. This is changing some thought processes. My whole goal is when you go into my whole goal is that you don't go into a group to fix anything. You go into a group to gain and to add value and to maybe flesh out some of your own ideas. Grab the chat. Has this been helpful? Are you guys getting the idea of what we're talking about here? Let me see if I can actually pull up the chat this time, because I want to see what you guys are saying. Come on, Sam, you can do this. Oh. Did it. All right. Craig says, yes. Jabin gives me a little thing. All right. Need-based marketing. Need-based marketing. Okay, yeah, that works too. All right, let's see if I can close this chat out here. No, I can't. It's all good. All right, so stop thinking like a marketer and start asking questions like a prospect. So let's solve our problem. All right, so we don't want to sell this. Okay, we want to figure out this. If we do that, then boom, everything is good. We got to solve for easy. Okay, what do they actually care about? What do our prospects care about? Okay, I'm going to give you a couple in just a minute. I'm going to give you a couple of questions. Actually, I want like drills, exercises that you can use to start jogging this. And what you'll find, it's like anything else. Okay, when you first start this, you're not as good as you will be, in a month, 2 months, a year from now. But starting to shift will change everything. Okay, so what do they actually care about? Chances are they don't care about your fancy stuff. Whatever you have that's fancy, they probably don't care about it in the way you do, or where you think they do. Okay, what questions do they ask themselves? What don't they know? Like, what have you figured out that they haven't? Without pitching a single feature, how can you help them? How can you help them get a result? What's going to capture their interest? Okay. Or in other words, what is the thing that is going to sell the thing? Got it? Are we there? We there? We there? We there? All right. Got it. Love it, Desiree. Thank you. What is the thing that's going to sell the thing? Pro tip. Super hard to answer this question if you don't know who you're talking to. All right. There's people that are smarter than me, and maybe they figured out how to jump around to all these different audiences, niches, and people. Not me. I'm dumb. So you got to start with the niche, silly. If you, which by the way, there's a spectrum of you that will that are here now and that will watch this in the future. So if you're new, pick a niche. Okay, it's going to make your life way easier. You'll be able to get into their heads and what they actually value a lot easier than trying to get into the heads of a dozen different people. Okay. Now, the agency conundrum. Okay. Who are we talking to? What result do they want? All these things are STEM because we're not asking these questions. That was my point. I should have said that. Okay. How can we catch real attention? Meaning, as people thumb through their Facebook profile, their Instagram, or whatever it is, how can we actually make them stop and go, whoa, that's not the same thing I always see. What is this? This is different. How can we stop and get their attention? And then 4, how can we layer in like actual proof and actual credibility? All right. Now, admittedly, some of these ideas are, as far as like for me to convey them to you, I'm doing my best. I've got a exercise here that I want you to consider, step 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go through them one by one. But again, this is the first time I've taught this to anyone. These are concepts that we use here at, well, for me and my company. And so I'm going to attempt to teach them to you. Let's start here. Who are we talking to? Well, I've talked about this, but who are we talking to? One of the ways that we can tap into this idea of like, what is the green triangle is a couple of frameworks. Okay. You can come up with your own. I like asking myself questions that start with, what does it mean when? And I'm sitting here, literally, I'm sitting in my chair thinking like a doctor, thinking like a real estate agent, thinking like a lender, whatever, whoever your niche is. What does it mean when, boom, in the context of the service you provide? What do I do if, or what would I do if, like, what would I do if I needed, 10, whatever, what would I need if I needed, what would I do? Sorry. What would I do if I needed to add $10,000 in revenue next month? What would I do? That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question, right? And there's people out there that have that exact question. Step number 2, what result do they want? Now, stop thinking like a marketer. Stop thinking like a marketer. I do this all the time, by the way. Like when I'm writing copy, okay, I'll say, so for example, click campaigns at UpX is something we're super excited about. We're the first company that's ever templatized lead generation campaigns and allowed you to do the same thing. And so if I'm talking about a result, do people want a template? Nope. They do not want a template. They want what the template does for them. What does the template do for them? It basically makes it so, how would you, for example, how would you like to create an ad once and then use it on any account you're attached to within 3 clicks forever in the future? Oh, that's a cool idea. I like that, right? How would you like to know without any guessing whether or not one ad campaign, one offer will work anywhere you put it in or anywhere you run that campaign? Well, right now I feel like I got a good grasp on what my campaigns, but I don't know it like he's saying, right? What result do they want? Don't tell them the thing that you have, okay? Tell them the result that they want and then attach it to the thing you have. Okay. So what are they doing now? This is all the thought process. Like, what are they doing now? All right. Well, if I'm working with, I don't know, real estate agents, maybe they're running stuff on Zillow. I don't know. I don't work with real estate agents, but find out, what are they doing now? What do they want? What would they like after somebody starts using something? They're always like, I wish it did this. Like, what is that? Okay. Daniel Barbosa, you just gave me a huge idea when start talking about templates. My man, All right. What have you figured out? Right? What have you figured out that they haven't? The point is, I mean, if they're out there every day selling real estate, helping patients, running a store, whatever it is, they're focused on that. They can't figure out all the stuff that you're figuring out for them. And if you just say, hey, man, I got this, like I can get you, I have a couple ideas coming up that will flesh out this idea for you. So I don't want to, let's not jump too far forward. Step 3, how do you get their attention? First of all, do your research. Don't get lazy. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Now, I have a video on my YouTube channel where I talk about how to research what, if you're getting into a new niche, what offers and ads people are running. That's research. I'm not cloning and just doing that stuff. I want to know, well, why is that working? What can I do this better than that? Right? Do your research. Here's a formula for you to write down and never forget. B plus C equals I. Benefit plus curiosity equals interest. That formula will capture people's interest anytime you use it. B plus C equals I. And then how do you get their attention? Value, right? Value has become like the echo chamber word of the century because some person said it and I'm like, oh yeah, just give people value. You got to give it what their value is, not your value. Not like, hey man, I go up to a real estate agent. Hey dude, how would you like a nurturing campaign that's automated and I could plug it in for you in like an hour and you have it and you could just have it. How would you like that? Maybe you'll have some people that are like, oh, I've been looking for something like that, but that's not going to work. But if you go to them, hey, did you know that most real estate agents actually lose about 20% of their deals because they haven't set up one really easy automation and all real estate brokerages have them? One, we're talking about 20%. How much do you do in a year? You do 300 grand a year. Oh man, we're talking about 60 grand. What if I could help you get that 60 grand? Take me an hour. We're framing it in a completely different way. Okay. And then step 4 is proof. Now, proof is actually something I'm going to do a follow-up training on in the future because it's actually one of the most important parts of marketing. Okay. Now, the number one form of proof is actually, you might think, well, testimonials, case studies, things like that. And those are forms of proof. The actual number one form of proof is demonstration. Okay. I don't have time to jump into it now. I have a really awesome story that shows how powerful proof is and the form of proof, which is demonstration. But I'm guessing it's the reason that most of you are here today because you saw a demonstration about how UpHex can make it so you can launch ads from Go High Level in 3 clicks. Have you ever seen that before? No, you haven't seen that. As soon as you saw, you're like, wait a minute. Say what now? It can do what? Right? Borrowed credibility. We did a case study with Go High Level. They had me on and they interviewed me and, Chase Buckner was an awesome guy and they liked what we were doing. And so you had to earn it. Right. But as soon as I go on to Chase's interview, I'm borrowing his credibility. Right. You can do the same thing. All right. So hopefully we got a lot of light bulbs coming off. I want to go into a couple of examples, but I want to make sure everybody is with me. Are we clear? Are you good? Are you excited? Are you learning stuff? Throw something in the chat while I grab a drink. Please let me know. Yes to all. Okay. So Jabin is Desiree, big time. Keep them coming, guys. Keep them coming. Amen. Amen. Wonderful. Awesome. 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 Okay. So let's move on to the next part. Now, I hesitate to do this to an extent, but I want to make sure that in the same vein of sharing principles and some tactics, I share some results. Okay. These results, the reason if you're teaching people to do stuff, the reason you don't want to necessarily share stuff like this is because I don't want to encourage you to copy it. I want to encourage you to learn from it. Okay. And at the scrum at the end, I'll answer any questions. We can deep dive your thing and apply these same things. But okay, let's jump into it. Let's imagine that we want to sell roofs. I used to live in Seattle. Roofing is big business. But because of that, there's a ton of people doing it. Okay. So here's a hook. Here's a tagline. Here's something that doesn't focus on the sale. By the way, I came up with these last night just on a whim. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm not saying I would necessarily use these exact ones, and I made up some of the information. But it's to convey a point. Here's where roofing companies lose most money. If I own a roofing company, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to read that. 91% of customers read reviews before they buy. I did find that. I didn't fake that. And if you have over 100, your business could grow by 37%. I actually just flipped it. I think it was businesses with over 100 increase sales by on an average of like 37%. Okay. I just worded it in a different way. Both of those things, all that information I got from the internet. It took me 2 minutes of research, and I just knew the mindset to be in so I could frame a solution in a different way. So what am I going to sell here? Hey man, did you know that if you had more reviews, you'd probably grow? It looks like you got 10. If you had 90 more, you could probably grow your revenue. How much did you make last year? Oh, 500 grand. 500 grand. That's like 100. What if I could add 157,000? Actually, I think it's $171,000 to, somebody's going to check me on my math and throw it in the comments. But $171,000 to your bottom line next year. I could probably do it. I could add that in an hour. Boom, foot in the door. Okay, we advance the sale. Off we go. Yay. Okay, sell agency service. The average orthodontist can add 120K this year with 60 minutes of effort. Dude, I mean, by the way, I'm surprised there's not more people in the orthodontist niche. I'm surprised I'm not in it. I did some advertising for orthodontists once, and it was the easiest I have ever done. And their average case value is like $5,000. Okay. And all these people, every business, every small business has leaky buckets when it comes to past prospects. Okay. I'll give you a reactivation campaign. The thing's already built. Boom, off you go. And then on the back end, I'm going to sell you some awesome agency services because I gave you a big win. Okay. Here's another hook, another headline: add blank and watch your ads bring in more leads and pre-qualified buyers. This is like probably like, mortgage real estate. All right. Proof. And I'll automate and some offer automation. Cool. Let's do it. Bam. Add proof is what I'm saying. Add proof and watch your ads bring in more leads and pre-qualified buyers. Boom. How many of these did I add? I just kind of went off on a crazy rant the other day. All right, here we go. Does your real estate brokerage make these mistakes? Okay. Every business, when I used to do consulting, the first thing we would do was we'd go find lost money. Find lost money. And then we can automate it, right? Using high level and all that kind of stuff, we can automate it. At the end of the day, I want to sell my freaking agency service. Let me do it. Here's the point, you guys. Stop playing checkers and start playing chess. Stop playing checkers and start playing chess. What is the move that sets up the next big move? All right. If you want to solve for easy, who is it? What result can you give them? What is the thing that's going to sell the thing? All right. And off you go. All right. How we doing? How we doing? Everybody, I'm going to go ahead and right now I'm going to stop the recording. I'm going to go through the Scrum rules.